Good day, boxing fans. On the 8th of January, I think it's Wednesday night in Queensland, Australia, on the zone, South African heavyweight champion Shaun Potgieter's got an opportunity to spring a massive upset and give not only his own career but also South African boxing a big shot in the arm. The question is the mountain too high? Are the levels too deep? Can he make that massive step up? And I'm talking, of course, about his opponent, Justis Huni, depending on whose rankings you look at, a contender or a fringe contender, undefeated heavyweight fighting in front of his more or less home crowd. And can Shaun Potgieter pull this off, or is it just going to be another W on the record of Justis Huni? Stick around and let's break it down. So Justis Huni, 11-0, undefeated as a pro. They brought him along steadily. We all know him in South Africa because he won a close decision over our own Kevin Lerena. Lerena had him in big trouble there in the last round of a fight. Shook Justis Huni badly, had him tottering on the edge of a stoppage defeat. But Huni showed that he can stay calm under fire, that he can smother his opponent's attack. And he managed to see out the final round and he won the decision. He did manage to outbox Kevin for many of those rounds. Although Kevin had his moments, it was a close fight. And Huni had a big scare, but he hung on and he won. Now, besides Kevin Lerena, the only other really world-class opponent that Justis Huni has faced was another guy who made his name basically as a cruiserweight. And that's Andrew Tabiti, who's been around the world level at cruiserweight, although didn't go all the way. And he won that fight by decision as well. As for Huni's other sort of heavyweight opponents, they've been mostly local guys in Australia and in New Zealand with decent records, but domestic level type of fighters, not guys that really belong on the world stage. Now, is Shaun Potgieter that kind of opponent? Because he's also never really been on the world stage. He's strictly domestic level here in South Africa. But at some point, you've got to take a step up. Is the step too much? Well, let's look at Shaun Potgieter. I think he did probably, besides now Tulani Mbenge, I think was comeback of a year here in South Africa. But besides Tools, I think Shaun made a fantastic comeback, turning his career around. It was just over a year ago that he fought for the South African title the first time, and he got smashed inside a round by Keaton Gomes. It wasn't a competitive fight and lose by TKO. He got absolutely smashed by Keaton in one round, got blown away. People were even saying on social media, for what social media is worth, he shouldn't box again, he doesn't belong in that ring. But he came back from that humiliation and that bad loss, picked himself up, and he started stringing along the wins. And he went on a 5-fight winning streak. He had the rematch with Keaton Gomes, and this time it was a wall. Both fighters had their moments, but he ended up stopping Keaton Gomes in the championship rounds and became a brand new South African heavyweight champion. And since then, he scored yet another knockout to take his record to 10 wins, 1 loss, 1 to Gomes, that he has avenged since, and 7 knockouts. And Justis Huni, 11-0 with 6 knockouts. So, identical professional records, although Justis Huni has had an extensive amateur career, and I think that basis does help. What we know from Justis Huni is he's got quick hands, and he puts his combinations together really well. He can be hurt, as we saw there. Kevin Lerena is an ex-cruiserweight champion coming up, so Kevin isn't really a proper heavyweight, and Kevin had him almost out there in the 10th and last round. So I would say Justis Huni in the chin department is probably not the best, but he does have skills. He does have some power, clearly. I think he doesn't punch with his full weight. It's well documented that Justis Huni's had a lot of hand trouble. You could even see after one of his fights, the hands swelling up there through the tape. And so I think Justis Huni's never really hit to the full force of his blows. Now, I think the difference between the two fighters is Justis Huni has fought on the world level against Andrew Taviti and against Kevin Lerena in the short space of time. Shaun Potgieter never has been on that world level. He's been on a South African level and a continental level, against other African opponents. But he hasn't fought internationally. He's fighting away from home, and he's fighting against a guy with a similar pro record, much more amateur experience, and a guy who's been there against world-class operators. Now, knowing Potgieter, he's a durable kind of guy, with the exception of that one loss. He's got heart. I was there when he avenged his loss and won the South African title. And I think he's got decent power. He's got a good right hand. He's got a good right uppercut. And he listens in the corner, and he can apply a strategy. And that's what his coach, Gert Strydom, over the years, it's a proven quantity. He's a guy that can get the strategy right there to beat the guy in the other corner. So I'm sure, they've been training over here in the festive season. I'm sure Gert will have a right game plan for Shaun Potgieter to pull it off. The question is, can he, will the golf and talent just be too big? And that's what worries me a bit, because Keaton Gomes is a vastly different fighter than Justis Huni. Keaton explodes in these powerful surges. He's a short, stocky, muscly kind of guy. Justis Huni is lighter on his feet, and he's a bit bigger than Keaton. Both Potgieter and Justis Huni are about the same size. They're proper heavyweights, not huge heavyweights, but proper heavyweights. It's not a cruiserweight blowing up into the heavyweight division, at least. But I do think Justis Huni has got the edge in speed. He's fought the better guys, as I've said. That mentally should help him. What the danger would be on Justis Huni's side is overlooking Potgieter, because Potgieter is definitely coming to fight. He's definitely coming to get this W and turn his whole career onto once again and onto a better, even better level. So I'm thinking here, strategy-wise, for Justis Huni, don't do anything stupid. Don't take your opponent too lightly. He needs to respect Potgieter a little bit, and he needs to work off his jab, use his superior hand speed and combinations, and set a high pace. I think if he sets a very high pace of a lot of punches, I'm not sure how well Shaun lasted the distance in that war of attrition against Gomes. Well, but there was a lot of hugging and holding and mauling, and this will be a different fight. So I would, if I'm Huni, I'm pretty confident he's the quicker guy. I'd use my hand speed. I will keep on changing the angles on Potgieter, work the body, and then just up the ante round by round and see if you can get him out of there as the rounds go by. For Potgieter, I wonder what Gert is planning for him. But I'm fairly certain he knows you're not going to win a close decision in Queensland, Australia. There's just no way you're going to get it on the cards. You're going to have to come and try and work towards a stoppage there against Justis Huni. And I think that last round against Kevin Lerena will give him a lot of hope. And they have to work towards that. And I don't see Shaun Potgieter winning a boxing match against Justis Huni in the center of the ring. I might be wrong. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. It's the beauty of the sport, isn't it? But you guys must also tell me in the comment section, do you think this is a leap too far for Shaun Potgieter? Who do you think win? Why do they win? And how do they win? So that's what Potgieter has got to do. He's got to make it, turn it into a war. He's got to not give Huni the space and opportunity to get his combinations of work the body. If Huni starts attack, smother him, lean on him, and just keep on grinding away and try and get to Justis Huni with that right hand, try and hurt him. And unlike Lerena, if he hurts him, he has got to take him out. So he's got to make it a rough and tumble fight. He's got to sort of old man Justis Huni, pull him, push him, hit him in the body, just be in his face all the time, disturb his rhythm, and try and grind him down like he grinded Keaton Gomes down. He's got to watch out for Huni's punches as well. What's going to happen? Well, everybody will in the prediction league will probably pick Justis Huni to win this one on a stoppage somewhere in around 6 or 7. South Africans, we know Shaun Potgieter. I think he'll put on a show. I think he'll make it a more difficult night for Justis Huni than maybe they're expecting to have. But there's an old cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. There are levels in this game. Look what happened. I mentioned Tools Mbenge earlier in this video. Look what happened when the Jabulani Mackenzie stepped up against Tools Mbenge. Top prospect. Had a lot of good wins, but not on Mbenge's level. And then they clashed. You could see the difference, and it didn't end well for Mackenzie. And I think maybe it could. I'm hoping, as a South African, I always root for our guys. So I'm hoping that Gert and Shaun, the great guys, go out there and spring the upset. But I've got to think with my head here, and I'm thinking that the gap in talent is just a bit too significant for Shaun Potgieter to overcome. So I think Shaun will be competitive. And I think he'll surprise people, and I think he might last the distance against Justis Huni. But I'm going to go for Huni by unanimous decision here, being where it is, being his superior experience, being his superior speed. And I think there's levels in this game, and this is going to be just maybe a level too much for Shaun Potgieter. I kind of see him as a South African continental level type of heavyweight. I don't think he's quite on that international standard, but I might be wrong. And it's a good step up fight to take. He's not getting younger, and it's a calculated chance, because I don't think Justis Huni is a monster. I don't see him as a heavyweight that's going to go all the way, but he's a heavyweight that is world class. Wherever you may rank him in the world, I think BoxRec's got him at number 14, and I've got Shaun just over 100. So it's a big gulf there, even though BoxRec has got its failings in their rating system. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Remember to watch it on the Zone. I will be watching as well. The main event is actually the World Cruiserweight Champion Jai Opataya defending his title against David Njika, another Aussie, and it's a late replacement. I think David Njika, he just gets hit too much to get over the line against Opataya. So I think Opataya's ire is going to knock him out. But anyway, that's what I think. Guys, thanks for watching. Please share the content among your boxing colleagues if you so wish. And please remember to subscribe. Thank you so much for all of you who did. And until I see you again, remember to keep those hands up.